saved a lady bird falling from a tree, drowning in the water. I picked it up.
So it's your boy SKANDOUZ, the Hip Hop Original. This is Season 5, Episode number 3 of the Head2Head series. And I'm joined by a truly phenomenal artist, singer, songwriter, occasional rapper, someone who's been a guest on the radio show in the past, like really early in the journey. So just to see the progression, where she's come, where she's at right now, like just dropped an amazing album, about to embark on a fantastic tour. So officially, I'd like to welcome one only Miss Iyamah. How you doing?
Good, thank you for having me. It's nice to be back.
Cool, amazing. So the first question we always ask is, Iyamah, how did you find your way into music? Where did it begin for you?
Oh, it's interesting. I think that it was something that was always there, and then when it wasn't there, I would really feel it. So it was more of a case of I'd feel it when it wasn't there, more so than when it was there. It's something that was so naturally, just organically there all of the time, like being in Brighton, so much music around there. My mum was always playing music where we lived, in our flats and stuff. So yeah, it was just something that was always there. I had very creative people in my life, dancers, actors, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, it was just always there really. And then just naturally just started singing from a really young age. Just used to copy melodies from radio all day long. My mum would be like, you are singing that on repeat. So yeah, just in school, like always humming, couldn't really pay attention. Just my mind was always elsewhere. So it was quite obvious that I was a creative kid. My mum was a painter as well. So yeah, when it came to sort of like deciding what I wanted to do, I just always knew that that was something that that was a path I wanted to go down.
Right. Wow. So what would you say were like your early influences when you was growing up?
When I was growing up, I think it was so many different things. Like I said, about just being around in a town like Brighton, it's just so vibrant. It's got this almost like feeling like a festival. It feels like a festival, especially in the summer. So there's so much inspiration there to take from. And then you just go to festivals. Like just as a kid from Brighton, the first thing you do as soon as you can, like 13, 14, you start going to music festivals with your mates. And then you start clubbing really early from like 15, 16.
Yeah.
So by the time I was like 16, 17, I was going to like drum and bass nights, jungle nights, all of that stuff. And then I just started picking up piano before that as well. So I picked up piano maybe 13, 12, started writing really emotional songs. But they weren't anything that I would ever share with anyone because they were really, they were like it was like my diary really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I used to put out just random stuff on SoundCloud. And then I think I put a cover on YouTube and I was approached by a label called Shogun Audio. They're a drum and bass label in Brighton. And then they sent me a couple drum and bass tracks, which led to my New Leng feature. I think I wrote that one at 16, came out when I was maybe 17, 18. So yeah, I went down a drum and bass path, and that was my first song that I ever put out.
Right.
Moved to London when I was 19, and it was pretty much to find my own direction.
Right.
Who am I? Iyamah, that's how I discovered the name. And then I started on my journey of sort of more a different route.
Right. So was Iyamah like your first choice of name, or did you just immediately get that's the one?
I had a different name.
Okay.
It might have been the name that I don't know. Was I Iyamah when I came to the show? Okay, so yeah, before that, I had a different name. I don't even want to say it. Because yeah, it's almost like our family name.
Okay.
So my surname is Bond.
Right.
And so my family on my mum's side has always been Bondi. So Big Bondi, Baby Bondi was me.
Yeah.
So at first I was like, maybe I should be called Bondi because that's what all my mates call me and stuff. And then I went down this whole mad experience of self-discovery, finding out more about my other side, my roots,
Right.
finding out more about my dad and, being Nigerian, all that stuff. And I came across the name Iyamah, which would have been my surname on my dad's side.
Right.
And because of the path that I was on, I'd always felt like I was trying to figure out who I was. Who am I? Was always the question growing up. So when I saw that name, Iyamah, I read it as that.
Right.
And it just stuck, and I really resonated with that name.
Okay.
All of the songs that I've sort of been writing ever since then has pretty much all been about identity and, you know, self-discovery.
Right. So I mean, on your self-discovery journey, I mean, I've noticed you get a chance to travel a lot.
Yeah.
How has that aided you on your journey?
That is definitely a massive part of this self-discovery thing of who am I? Can I find myself here? Or am I this? Is this where I'm going to find myself? Still, I haven't been to Nigeria, so I'm sure that's going to be a key moment for me. But yeah, I found that, like, I don't know if it's being mixed race, it's being someone who, yeah, I think having that question, who am I? It does really, like, it's this thing within you that you just want to travel. You just want to see as much as you can. You want to meet as many different people, see as many different cultures, like all the different sounds, all the different colours, all of the different patterns, everything. My brain is like a sponge.
Right.
And every time I get this like spark of, I resonate with this thing, I see myself with this thing, I feel a bit closer to, oh, maybe this is who I am. I don't know if that will ever go away. I don't know if I'll ever be like, I found me. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's kind of like the journey of life, really.
Exactly, you know? That's it.
I can definitely tell you, as someone that's a bit older, it's like
it never ends.
It never ends.
Yeah.
You'll unlock new chapters, new levels, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, that's how a lot of artists just stay inspired constantly. You know?
This is it. And do you know what that has been? I think there's a song on my project, most recent project, called The Key.
Right.
And it's very much sort of coming to this realization that actually there's a beautiful thing in not knowing. There's another meaning to that song as well. But yeah, part of that is like, we can spend our whole lives trying to chase something.
Right.
But in actual fact, the beautiful thing is the moving, it is the growing, it is the chasing, it is the evolving. And you don't want that to end. Like, you know, that should be a continual thing. So yeah, it's finding the beauty in the question.
Yeah. So on your journey since we last spoke, you've released some singles, you dropped some EPs.
Yeah.
Now, before we get to the album, right, how would you say your music had evolved from the first single and through the EPs up until now?
It's mad. It's difficult for me to even know, because it's like, you know, I've just from the beginning, and something that I've always stayed true to is just doing what I feel in that moment. So I've never been like, oh, I want to sound like this, or I'm trying to do this. It's always just been, what do I feel in the moment? And I think that's been part of, some people have struggled to understand that about me as an artist, because they're like, where do you fit in? You know, you've got the drum and bass, you've got the hip hop, you've got the more raw acoustic stuff. But I think for me, it's like, it will all make sense one day, do you know what I mean? And I think that's where I'm kind of heading towards, is almost like, you can put the ukulele with the jungle. Right. It will make sense. Okay. So that's kind of been the path that I've been on a little bit. But I think, yeah, if you listen to my earlier projects, there's definitely more of a vulnerability in my voice. Right. There's more of kind of like a hesitation, I think. Like when I listen back to my earlier recordings, it's kind of like this, naivety that I feel, almost something that's holding back, which is a beautiful thing as well. But I think now when I get on stage or when I'm in a recording session, I feel like I'm finding my voice, I'm finding my power, and I'm finding my strength. And so yeah, that's nice as well.
So one thing I've also seen evolve with you, besides the music, obviously, is the live presentation. Yeah. Your fashion and your visuals. So what? And like you said, it's like, almost like that childlike creativity. Yeah. Kind of, it's like fun, it's exciting. Yeah. So what is it about you that, you know, that inspires that level of creativity?
Do you know what? I am a storyteller. So whenever I write a song, I see a vision for it. but it's not just one little vision. It's like a whole film. So it's really difficult actually, because it's like for every project that I've ever written, for me that's a whole book and it's a whole film.
Right.
So I never really feel satisfied, because I feel like there's so much that I haven't been able to show. And again, will I ever be satisfied? I don't know. But yeah, there's still so much. You know, one day I'm sure there'll be another Truth. There's Truth EP1, EP2. That's an unfinished story.
Right.
So yeah, part of the challenge for me has been, how can I as an independent artist show as much of the vision that I see, with lower budgets, a smaller team, in a way that is possible realistically right now.
Right.
And still be proud of what I've done, you know, and happy with the outcome. Yeah, so I think, you know, one day hopefully I'll be able to show more of it, because there's so much, you know, there's so much. Yeah,
it's amazing, man. And like, you must like have the biggest wardrobe, right? That's a lot about it.
There's still so much that I mean, yeah, I think one day I'll definitely have like a hat wardrobe, a wig wardrobe. Just, I don't know.
You said the trainer collection.
The trainer
shoes.
collection,
Wow.
you know. But at the same time, I'm also on a thing of like realizing that materialistic things are not what makes you happy. And my mum has literally just moved in a van to Portugal on a plot of land, like, and she's got rid of everything.
Wow.
So, you know, it's kind of made me think that actually, you know, and that's another part of this project, which I'm sure we'll get into, is like, you could have all the money in the world, you could have all the things in the world, but actually, is that really what's gonna give you that fulfillment? I don't know.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about the project. Like, what made you feel that it was time to deliver your full body of work?
Do you know what? I am always very impatient. As soon as I get an idea, I'm like, I need to put it out this year. So yeah, I've been learning how to be more patient. This was supposed to come out 2 years ago.
Okay.
So I wrote the songs 2 years ago. We've just come out of lockdown. There was a lot of feelings of kind of like a frustration, I guess, because in lockdown, obviously, like many people, I felt like I sort of had built up this thing that, you know, I had to start all over again. And I felt very isolated. I felt a bit lonely. You know, the project that I put out in lockdown, it didn't reach the people that I wanted it to reach. So I was feeling quite frustrated. And so a lot of the songs in this project were written off the back of that. And I was looking for, this kind of like, I was looking for this feel. I was trying to find the words to how I felt, because it was a universal feeling that everyone was feeling. But everyone went through their own journey with that, you know. So what was your question?
So you've called the album In Two Worlds.
Yeah.
What is the inspiration or the reason behind that title?
So In Two Worlds. So off the back of the lockdown, I think it really made me think, you know, because I was thinking like, you know, there's a lot of people that probably dabbled in a little bit of mental health, you know, whether it be depression, anxiety, all of the things that was going on our screens in front of us, that was going on in the world at that time. And we just sort of had to sit with those feelings, you know. So I spent a lot of time on my own. I'm a thinker, but I had a lot of time to think,
Right.
So I started imagining this, you know, person that was struggling with their reality. And so what they did is they created this other world where they had everything that they had ever wanted. And I started imagining sort of this inner child in me.
Right.
And I went all the way into that, and I really looked at this little girl inside of me, like, what did she really want? Okay, so if I was to imagine probably what I wanted, it would have probably been this Barbie girl with like long blonde hair, a really big house, a car or two, a massive wardrobe, you know, like all these materialistic things, a perfect husband, like all of these things that you're kind of sold as a little girl. That was probably it.
Right.
And so then I thought to myself, okay, what do I do if I imagine I am now that woman? I've grown up with all of these things. who would I be? How would I feel? And so yeah, this other world is basically me realizing that while I'm spending time in this other world, it's not really all it's cracked up to be. It's not perfect. Like, there's no such thing as perfect. So yeah, that was kind of me creating this other world. But amongst that, I went and did a tarot reading with my friend.
Ooh, okay.
Where, I don't know if you know much about tarot.
It never usually ends well.
Yeah, do you know, and a lot of people think it's a pile of crap, but for me, I had a really, really good experience with tarot. And it, like, the cards that I drew that day, I was like, it was exactly what I wanted to hear. So basically, the first card was called Eight of Swords.
Right.
And it kind of sparked the whole idea for this project. So it's this woman who's tied up in ropes and chains and blindfolded. And then she is like in this big sort of space, and she's got 8 swords in front of her. 2 of the swords have got a gap in between them.
Right.
And then there's a castle in the background. And basically the message is, if only she could take off her blindfold, untie herself, she'd be able to walk through the gap. And then she'd be able to get to the castle in the distance, and all her dreams would be waiting for her, right? But we get so stuck with the narrative that we tell ourselves. We get so defined by, you know, how we're raised, like what we believe, like all of these things that might helped us survive at some point in our lives. But then eventually they become like walls and blocks.
Right.
And so, yeah, I really related to that. And I felt like, you know, at that point, there'd been a whole lockdown, yes, things that I couldn't control, things out of my control. But at the same time, there was also things in my head, things that I've been telling myself my whole life.
Right.
You know, doubts and confidence things and stuff like that, that were holding me back and that had become blocks, you know. So I was like, what is this thing that's stopping me from being able to get from here to here?
Right.
You know, why is it that some people can live, that some people are living their dreams and some people are so far away from them? You know, sometimes they're things that we can't control, but sometimes they are things that we can change, you know, and we can strip all those things away and literally start again. Like, you can wake up tomorrow and decide to you know, feel a different way about something. So yeah, this project is very much a journey of that, you know, unraveling what these two worlds are. And
Right.
yeah.
So, I mean, I noticed you also had a bit of help when you was creating this world, like sonically. About a year ago, we had an interview with Pitch 92.
Yeah,
He spoke really highly about the creative process and how this came together. So do you want to elaborate a bit more on how you found the production team, how you found the sound that you wanted for this?
Yeah, so what I love about Pitch 92 is that he is a beat maker. Like, he is just honestly one of the best when it comes to hip hop beats. And I think what I was drawn to with him was that I am very much like, you know what I was saying about I see the vision, but I also hear all of the sounds. So a lot of the time I'm very, very involved in the production. And with Pitch, he like allowed me that, you know, he allowed me to like bring in the musicians, write with the musicians, like all of the parts, exactly how I wanted it to sound. And yeah, he kind of gave me that creative freedom, which I'm really grateful for, because a lot of producers, they're amazing, but they kind of are like, all right, I take control of this and you take control of this. And for this project, like, I was just hearing so much and I had so many ideas. So to be able to work with someone that allowed me to pretty much co-produce this project was really wicked. Yeah, so I'd sort of have this idea, and then we'd work together on the beat, and then we'd bring in the musicians, and then it was very much a case of just like going through every single part together. Some of them I finished on my own, because I was like, I need to take this and just think about it, like this guitar, or whether it was the vocal takes. Most of them I did at home on my own. So yeah, it was very much like a lockdown project as well, you know. Still, like, us coming out of that, a lot was done at home. But yeah, Pitch with the drums, like, he smashed them.
Nice. And so did he also give you the confidence to want to like spit some bars as well, like just
his
widen
beats,
the dynamics?
like you can't not when you hear his beats, do you know what I mean? You know, like it's always been, because I'm a soul singer. I'm definitely not a rapper, but I listen to a lot of rap. And I love hip hop drums. And you know, I love neo soul and I love R&B, but I wouldn't say I'm like an R&B artist, really. Right. I'm from Brighton. We listen to reggae and hip hop. There, you know, I had an R&B phase for sure. I was obsessed with Beyonce, Alicia Keys. I still, you know, I'm more of a soul head probably. But yeah, when people sort of bring me these sort of lighter R&B, like more neo soul beats, sometimes it's exactly what the song needs, but most of the time I'm like, I need this to smack. Like, there's something in me that's like I need that aggressive, I need that hip hop, like, and Pitch just gets that. But occasionally, like for Ladybird, he brought me this beat that was already complete, and I heard it and I was like, wow, if I sing over these melodies, it's kind of just gonna get in the way. So yeah, I just felt like, you know, especially if it's a sample that's repeated, it needs more of a story and it needs more rhythm and it needs the words. So yeah, that just came out. I was like, I'm hearing this, and then yeah, Ladybird was just one that just sort of came out like that. Right. Yeah.
So you know Beyonce's got like the Sasha Fierce. Like, what's the name of like rapper Iyamah?
I don't know. Do you know what? It's just Iyamah. Like there's so many sides to me. Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing about this name as well, and why I connected to it, is like, I am not one thing. Yeah. You know, I am so many things. We all are. We're all made up of so many things. And I think sometimes we're like, this is who I am. This is where I fit in, and I'm never going to change. This is where I was raised. These are my friends. And we get very like comfortable in this identity. Yeah. And the whole sort of thing of Iyamah is sort of showing people that, you know, there's probably a whole side of you that you don't know. Right. And if you just explore it, you know, if you just like see what's there. And you know, I've got my mate Coops, like he's a very, very good rapper, as I'm sure you're aware. And he was like, I am like, you need my help, you know, like, and he's right, like, you know, sometimes you're not going to be that good at something. But at the same time, you know, it's like with my ukulele, I'm not the best player. Right. But what it gives me is something so beautiful that it would be silly not to explore it, you know. So you had you spoke about Coops, but you had Kofi Stone on the album. Yeah. So what affected the decision to choose Kofi and have him on a track? He is a wordsmith, and he is just like one of the best storytellers as well. And I felt like he would know exactly what to do. Sometimes it's almost like I don't have control over who I work with. They just they just come into your life at the right time, and you just go, okay, well, here we go then, let's do this. Right. It was very much the case with Coops and with Kofi Stone. I'm just lucky to work with, you know, two phenomenal rappers. Yeah. That's amazing. So obviously the video is out. Yeah. It looks brilliant. You said that you shot it overseas. Yeah. So what was the decision to go and do that? Yeah, so Chasing Dreams was actually footage that we had from a couple years back, working with a wicked company, ukulele company. Oh yeah. Where I got my ukulele from, who have been really supportive of my journey, called Duke of Ute. Right. And yeah, like they wanted to do a campaign, which I can't talk too much about, but the footage didn't end up getting used at that time. So Matt, he said to me that I could, you know, do what I wanted with the footage, which was honestly like incredible. So yeah, it was beautiful. We had a proper team. Like the water was freezing. It was really cold. But yeah, we got some amazing stuff from it. Yeah. Good. Amazing. Right, so the album's out. Yeah. Sounds incredible. Off the back of that, now we've got a tour coming. Yeah. Which is really exciting. Yeah. So, I mean, talk me through the idea of wanting to, you know, actually, you know what, I'm not going to do some spot gigs. I'm going to do a whole UK tour. Yeah. Right, so this wasn't even my idea. This was definitely, you know, I think sometimes when you've got
people in your corner, and they see that you've got, I mean, it's a difficult one because you'd never really know what the right way to do things are.
Right.
And you know, my booking agent, he was like, you know, you've got this project out now, finally. He was waiting for this project to come out for a while. It kept getting delayed, so finally when the project was out, they were like, okay, let's get a tour in place.
Right.
So yeah, there's a, you know, it's crazy right now because, you know, off the back of the project, I do just want to sleep. You know, maybe just do one little show here and there. But yeah, the tour is going to be amazing. It's going to cities I've never performed in before,
Right.
off the back of my own shows anyway. It's going to be a lot, but it's going to be a learning curve.
Right.
I have no idea what to expect. It's the
Right.
biggest London show I've ever done. Lafayette. So yeah, the pressure's on,
Yeah.
but at the same time I do like a challenge. And I just feel like it's sometimes I need these things to push me to be better. And it could go one of two ways. It could be, obviously there's a part of me that's like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this. I'm sure everyone has that thought in their head sometimes, like, am I capable of doing this headline tour? Do people even know me in Glasgow? I don't know. But at the same time, you know, I just want to go in with this attitude of, even if I don't sell out all of the shows, like, I'm going to go there and I'm going to put on the best performance I've ever put on in my life. And every show is going to get better and better. And, you know, however this tour goes, I'm going to make sure that it's going to make me a better artist. And hopefully I can look back and I can go, thank God I did that, because, you know, it's got me to where I am today. So yeah, I don't know, I'm very much learning. My manager, he's very much learning as well. He's just one of my mates. Like, we're kind of just like blindly doing this, hoping for the best. But you know, I wouldn't have it any other way. Like, it means so much having someone that is like your best mate. And I've had a lot of managers, and so far, like, having someone who's your friend has been, you know, what feels right for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So talk us through what we can expect to see on this tour. Like, what does the live Iyamah experience? What is it? What does that feel like? What can we expect when we come and see you on tour?
You can expect to hear a lot of soul, and I'm very real on stage. You know, it took me a few years to get to this point, and what I mean by that is, I used to really, really struggle with confidence. Getting up on stage it took a lot. I used to get so nervous, just feeling like I couldn't, you know, perform how I wanted to perform. I don't know why that was. It's like, you know, growing up, I always was a singer, but I would never really sing in front of people. When I started singing in front of people, it took me so much to get over these nerves, and when I did get over the nerves, I still felt like I wasn't able to like sing in the way that I would have sung if I was on my own at home. So now I feel like something's just clicked on stage. Like, something's clicked in me, and honestly, it feels good to just be able to sing how I want to sing. And these songs are really fun to sing as well. So you can expect to probably see the best shows that I've ever done. I feel like now I'm ready on stage. Like, something's unlocked, and I'm very present on stage now. So yeah. So
are we gonna get like the full visual, like, outfit changes,
like
backing singers, musicians, or guests?
Oh, do you know what? This is my first ever tour, so obviously I'm independent. When I visualised it, of course, I've got the whole band. I've got my BVs, I've got my saxophone, but I've got like everyone there. But that's not possible this time around. If this tour goes well, obviously we're going to expand. We're going to, you know, get the band's going to be bigger. We're going to have my backing vocalist, like, you know, this is just sort of, I'm almost on a mission. I've got to prove to the industry that I can sell tickets. You know, like what I was saying with what happened in lockdown, like I had to start again. My project, like Tough Love, it didn't really receive the love that I wanted it to receive. And you know, we've been building from the ground up. I've got a new team. Like I've had to really make sure that everyone in my corner is as hungry as I am. And so yeah, I've been building since then, and I think from building a strong foundation means, you know, I've got a sort of, I can't think as big right now, but with this tour, you know, off the back end of it, hopefully they'll see, and then we can just go bigger and better. You know, I want to do Europe, I want to do a world tour, like I want to be, you know, taking this elsewhere. So yeah.
Awesome, man. So like you mentioned being an independent artist, and you mentioned the industry. Now obviously during this process and putting out a project, you know, there's a lot of pressure on you. It can be very stressful. What would you say are the biggest lessons that you've learned being around this industry?
Do you know what, it's funny because you're interviewing me now while I'm right in it still. I'm in a phase of my life where it's probably the most intense things have ever been, and I can't wait for in a few years when I can look back and go, that all needed to happen to get to here. Right now I'm still in this place of like, you know, I'm still very much I'm still very like, this industry is a lot, you know, this is a lot, and I love what I do, but yeah, it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure for an artist, and I think you definitely have to be a bit insane to do it. Like, you know, a lot of people give up, a lot of people can't handle it, and I see why that is. You know, I've been tempted many times. I've been like, you know, I don't know if I can do this anymore, but I'm like, well, what else is there really? I cannot give up on music. Like, it's impossible for me to do that. That is like that's how I breathe. So it's impossible, and you know, like to lose that spark, like I don't think I ever could, you know. But the industry, that's a whole nother thing, you know, and I think it's not very good at looking out for people's mental health. I'd say that. I think it needs to be better at nurturing. You know, like back in the day, I think labels, they would have more of a development deal thing. Now, like, they don't have that. So artists are out in the open on their own, trying to develop to get up to a point where they can get these deals and can get signed. But that development stage is so crucial for an artist to get to where they need to get to reach their full potential, you know.
That's right.
So I think in many ways, you know, like creatively, I'm getting there to a point where I feel like I've got some really wicked people I'm working with. I've got some really wicked people backing me. I've worked with some amazing artists, and like I've got some incredible sessions and people that I'm working with. So that's exciting. And I do feel like, you know, I've unlocked something like on stage, when I go to the studio. My confidence is building, so that's exciting. And I'm so excited I love my songs, like the songs that I write, like I'm so excited for them. And the visions and the stories, like there's so much there. But yeah, I think the heartbreaking thing about it is like not being able to tell the full story, and I really hope one day I can do that, because you know, there's a lot there that has not been seen.
Right. Wow. So with you being like the face of the brand, obviously the videos, the tour, the album, everything, what is it like for you, I guess, you know, especially in this modern era, staying on top of everything in terms of socials, and like, do you manage all your own social media? Or?
Yeah, that's a lot. That is probably the thing that like affects the headspace the most, is this social media thing. Because you know, when I think about it, I'm like, surely I should love it. You know, I like being in front of the camera. Like, you know, you don't see yourself really until you watch yourself back. But the filming myself thing, like that is something that just doesn't come naturally to me at all. I'd prefer someone just to be there with a camera recording me all day, where I don't have to think about it. So I think that a lot of the magic is not captured, because I'm present. I'm in the music, or I'm in the moment, so having to think about that and try and capture that's one thing. And I'm trying to be better at just, you know, trying to capture more stuff. But yeah, coming across authentic online, that's something that I want to be able to do. But yeah, it's always, it feels forced sometimes, and then that feels like conflicting. So yeah, the social media thing is just not, that's a whole nother job. And really, like, that's that's too much. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. But I'm making more effort with it. But yeah, it's there's a resistance to it as well. I don't want to be doing that stuff really. I just want to be making the music, working on videos, like visual ideas. Like I want to be working on the concepts and the stories and the music, and that's it. So yeah, that's tough for people these days.
Yeah, you're right. So we're speaking about this album. We're speaking about the tour, and the natural question that comes after that is always like, where do I envision it going? Like, what would be the Iyamah legacy? If we look back on this interview in like 10 years time, like, where do you envision it all going?
There's a lot of, right now I feel like all of the projects, they kind of all link in some sort of way. People don't realise that yet. There's a lot of things that, there's been little pieces that I've given people.
Right. Little Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no one's been able to see the full vision. So I hope one day more of the puzzle has been pieced together, and sort of more of it starts to make sense, and you'll be able to see it sort of as a full picture rather than little things like that. But yeah, like I've had to be honest with myself, like what is it that I really want? Like I've always been kind of this thing of like being modest and I'm fine, just being where I am, like it's I just want to grow organically, and I love that my growth has been organic. And I probably wouldn't want it to be like this crazy, like major success, and then you don't hear from me for 2 to 10 years. So I'm really happy it's been like that. But yeah, my visions are big. Like I'm a very driven person. Like it's what I don't ever stop thinking about what I'm doing. I don't really have much of a social life. That's something that's had to, but that's definitely been effective for sure. And I've always been such a people person, so I think a lot of my time used to be putting people first. I've had to definitely put myself first now, put my career first. That's made a massive difference. So yeah, I'm thinking bigger now. I'm being more honest with myself. Yeah, I want to have bigger budgets where I can show more of the story. I want a bigger band.
Right.
I want to write this book. I want to do this film. Like I want to write for more films as well. Like, there's a lot in my head that I need to get out. So yeah, hopefully you can see more of that. My mum was in fashion. She used to make clothes.
Okay.
She's always had little bits and pieces like lying about, and I'm like, where's that from? Like, what's that? And honestly, that it's unique and it's different. And I've always been interested in clothes, but I've never really given it much time or thought. So it's more of a recent thing where working with stylists, then working with PR companies, picking up clothes, and realizing that actually like I really enjoy that part of putting things together. I really enjoy like having to think about the visual side of stuff. So naturally I've just started thinking about, what am I wearing, like how do I present myself, like realizing that actually I feel like I've got quite excited about it actually, like starting picking up things from charity shops and like making new things from them.
So is there like an actual Iyamah look now?
You'll see it, there will be. I'm in the very, very early stages of that right now, but what I'm seeing in my head is exciting stuff.
Okay. Amazing. Right, cool. So just for the people that have not got an album yet, those 2-3 people, wherever they are, right, tell the people why they need to hear this album.
This album is a journey. It's a film, it's a story, it's a book. Every song is a chapter, and I could talk about an hour for every song. Like every song has its very own whole story to it. So I won't do that, but it's gonna be something that you keep coming back to for sure, and it's gonna make you think. It is gonna make you think, and it's all about basically unlocking your true potential. And I think that most people haven't done that. I still haven't done that, you know. That's going to be a constant journey. But yeah, I think that once you listen to this album, you're gonna think differently, and you're gonna see life a bit differently as well. So I hope that that's something that you're willing to do.
Yeah, and sequenced amazingly.
Thank you.
Mixed, mastered brilliantly. Beats bang. So those are the, you know, if you don't want to get too deep in it, just know that it bangs.
Yeah, thank you. There's definitely variety in there.
Of course. And also, right, why do we need to come and see this tour? Like, and we're talking about all the people in the countries that you're going to be performing at as well. Not countries, cities. So
look, if you want to see a real artist, like, who really, really, their soul is in this, you know, the passion is there. I've, you know, my journey is real, you know, and one day I will tell my story, but, you know, these songs for now tell it in the best way possible, and this is real life, like, this is a real life thing, and these songs are not made up from a make-believe, like, it almost is in a way, like, it's kind of like a fantasy world that I've created, but this is telling my story, do you know what I mean? And if you want to come and see some real raw life soul, you know, and you want to hear some, like, you know, vocals, plus my band is sick, like, I've got some of the best players, then come to this show.
Wicked. Nice. Right, so finally, obviously, for the people who are not initiated, how can they find you on socials?
Iyamah artist. Iyamah_artist. I am mainly on Instagram. I'm trying to be better at the other ones, alright? Like, just...
So you're not on doing the TikTok dances yet?
No. The thing is with me, like, with TikTok, like, I probably go too far, so I have to, like, you know, I'm like, let's not, because otherwise I'll just talk about everything, and then I'll probably get cancelled or something, so... Yeah.
So do you notice when you get to, like, a certain size, and have you noticed yet, like, when you get to a certain size as an artist, you have to put a lot of thought into what you post?
Yeah, it's a shame, and I think that that's why I struggle with, you know, like, I can be sitting on something like, do I post it? Do I say it like this? Because we have to be so careful now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I used to be very, very open and vocal about everything. And then I'd end up getting into debates with people about stuff that actually was draining my energy. And, you know, I've watched people get cancelled, like, I've watched it all, so I've had to sort of say to myself, do you know what, let me just focus on the music. And, you know, I've also had managers in the past say, you shouldn't say this, you shouldn't post that, you shouldn't do this. So after a while, you do get in your head a little bit, and you do start to question everything. And, like, doubt yourself. So yeah, I'm still trying to find what my voice is, like, who am I online, do you know what I mean, like, how much do I say? It's a constant, like, daily battle, really, that, you know, I don't really want to have to be thinking about. So at the time I just park it, but yeah, I do want to sort of become a bit more open with stuff that's relevant to my music, at least, you know, and my story, and, you know, who I am.
Amazing. Wow. Iyamah, I want to thank you so much for taking time to kick it with the Connoisseurs.
Thank you.
We look forward to the journey.
Thank you.
Look forward to bumping the album even more, and looking forward to seeing you on tour.
Thank you very much. I'm going to have to listen to that interview from 7 years ago, because I can't believe that. That is...
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. There you go. Nice.
Woo.
I just saved a lady, but for